Yeah, but from the look of things, from the submissions of those governors, it does look as if they made up their minds. Election has got to hold.
Yes, they've made up their minds election have to hold, and that makes it exciting for me. The challenge there is...
That's one part of it.
Yes.
What makes it exciting for you?
It makes it exciting because if you told me, Blade, elections will hold in Borno State, you've made one sentence. For me, is a tall order. I'm going to sit down and nobody sleeps until I put that roadmap on my table or on your table. No one sleeps. But right now, we're not hearing anything. We're just hearing that meetings are holding, elections will hold. How? What is going to add up to these elections? That is, the safety is the concern now. What are we getting as assurance that people are going to walk into those venues and go back home safely? Don't forget, they are not even safe in their homes now. I was reading somewhere that of 27 local governments, 20 are virtually under a state of threat, leaving 7. Somewhere I had is 15 that are okay for elections. Don't forget that if these insurgents rout the elections, is an added feather to their cap. If we close it successfully, is an added feather to us. But how do we intend to get there? First thing first, you must build confidence levels.
Okay, I was thinking of planning, because now you just touched on something. Surely the bad guys will be planning.
Of course,
turn things.
Of course.
And we as a nation and as a people, we too must be planning and put things in place.
Yes.
Isn't that why we have just seen some of these meetings coming up so quickly and fast that will ensure that we have a hitch-free election, especially in the Northeast?
Well, part of it, partly yes, but for me, I'm looking at it in 37 days. But this is what we should have been doing.
This is the Nigerian military. You've always known that they are dogged, and they can actually, in cases of emergency, spring up some surprises, and you can attest to that fact that they've been able to do all of that. And we've seen that so many other agencies, even the DMI and the DSS, they too have been working to making sure that some of those things. What can we see? You know, when people are working, intelligence is being gathered and things have been put in place. For the layman, what are those things that you would see that will make you know that something is working?
Good. Now, the whole thing is a process. Let me just say what we're seeing doesn't add up. Okay, what do you want to see that actually makes what is being said, what is being gathered, and what is being done symmetrical? Brings them, that aligns them. If you look at the story of those local governments, it's one day we have it, one day we've lost it. What that tells you is somewhere along the line, the intelligence cycle is broken. That is what we call the intelligence cycle. Intelligence cycle actually entails what you do from scratch to finish, from acquisition through collation to evaluation and dissemination. So what's happening to the intelligence cycle? Is it that they're not getting information on time on what these guys are doing? Or is it that there is no even link between what they are doing and the feeding us back with the information? Things are not adding up. Now, let me tell you something. There is no doubt at all about what our armed forces can do based on their past achievements. But as I told you, or as I wrote in one of our media fora, I said, the armed forces, body and soul, are two different entities today. The body is willing, but the soul is willing, but the body is deliberately weakened by design. Deliberately weakened by design. I say deliberately weakened by design because I don't see how you want to sentence 54 people to death for asking for weapons, which you actually attempted to go and buy. For you to have actually attempted to buy weapons, for you to have actually said somebody out there doesn't want to assist you with weapons, lends credence to their claim that their weapons are not good enough. Now we're looking at a situation where all this has happened and you and me are sideliners watching, and tomorrow we are supposed to come out en masse and vote within that same place. Tactically, commanders will tell you there are 3 possible outcomes on the battlefield. It's either closed, suspended, or open. To elections, for elections now, that battlefield remains suspended until we can see some robust plan.
What would you do if you were told to make sure elections hold in those
In that
states?
place,
Yeah.
take out the possibility of virtual elections, as she said, because it takes time, it takes infrastructure. We should be able to bring in a team that should be able to say those particular flashpoints, 12 days, 14 days to election, should be made safe. From H day, H hour minus 12 days, we should be able to see a parity, okay, of security on ground. Having done that, the people themselves will begin to say it if they sense it. Security is invisible. You can't see it, you can only feel it.
Now,
Now,
you're assuming that
yes,
if all goes well, if there isn't some sort of internal sabotage.
look, sabotage, I've always said, is to us as we are to sabotage. Christ had one. You should be able to manage saboteurs. Time was when we even look for saboteurs, we know them, we know what they're doing, we don't arrest them, we help them by feeding them with nonsense. We disinform them or misinform them. So they are useful too if you know what you are doing. They are useful. If I know you are a mole in my system, I'm not going to kill you. I'll just use you. Now, having done that, I look to see a situation where people will be telling me, look, for this area and this area and this area, so person is driving your safety. So person is taking ownership. Now, if these people that are going to be given these jobs feel they have what it takes to do it, they will tell you we will do it. Not just elaborate general statements that elections we hold. Can the Commissioner of Police in Borno State, or let me leave the Commissioner of Police Borno State outside of it. Let me use the Commissioner of Police for election monitoring. There is one. Can he take ownership of the safety?
Because that's part of what people are asking about, not just the armed forces now.
Yes.
Other agencies, are they complementing what is being done?
That's what I'm saying. We are going to see a nexus of efforts. We're going to see people coming out. Have you seen how our marketers do it in the supermarkets, where you approach a shelf to pick detergent and like 6 people come and you are just at a loss, you end up buying all. They tell you why you have to buy my detergent. I want to see people telling me why I have to come and vote and what he has done to ensure that I am safe. That is how we drive these things.
I'm wondering whether politicians will be out there campaigning.
Exactly.
And, whether or not that would also form the basis.
Exactly.
Some of them.
It'll be interesting to see how that happens. I mean, if we're going to be having a crowd like this, you know, in the north.
For example, how
Yeah.
many of those people who have said elections should hold, which is okay, it's a challenge, how many of them are ready to breast the challenge by actually taking a tour of those areas on that day?
Take Gospel's question. He sent a tweet. He said the major threat
Yes,
remains the incidence of suicide bombings.
exactly.
How can that be managed?
How can that be managed? We're looking at situations where you're going to have polling stations. We're looking at situations where these polling stations will be cordoned. People can actually be frisked. People can be frisked before they enter the perimeter for voting. That's okay. But then how do you manage a situation where vehicles just show up and start shooting in the air indiscriminately?
Which is also a possibility. So would you advise that, you know, polling centers, because oftentimes you're supposed to have polling centers close to residential areas, you know, but would you say that they should group them for the security and safety of citizens? Does that help?
For the security and safety of citizens, I wish I could say 2 things here, but I know that insurgents too listen to Sunrise Daily. But it's a very interesting challenge. Those who are sitting on it should see it. I hope they see it. But let me put it to you very, very easily. Have you ever wondered how we virtually cover every nook and cranny of any state with posters when elections are coming up? Nowhere is too remote. There's no remote area when it comes to pasting posters, but there's remote areas when it comes to light and water and good roads. We can also ensure there is no remote area in Maiduguri for these elections. But how we are going to do it is left for the panel.
Do we have the strength, the numerical strength, the numbers to penetrate all of those remote areas?
If you are looking at it as in manually, one-on-one, you don't have you don't have enough people to cover the entire Maiduguri ground. But then let me go a little bit into what I'm trying to suggest. The insurgents, they don't come in tunnels. And to make it even easier, they come in vehicles. And vehicles don't fly. They use roads. I won't go further than this. We know what the problem is, but as I told you, there is a failing political will to stamp it out. Period. If you understand. Let me give you a typical example. I've said this earlier. Maiduguri is flat, basically, and arid. If you know what just one Apache helicopter can do.
That's the one that we've been trying to get.
Whatever they've been trying to get. Just imagine yourself sitting on top of a building and you were holding just one rifle and you had to guard a football field. Nobody crosses it because you have... So what are we talking about? Night visibility is possible even with infrared.
Let's end with a question from Aisha, who says, please ask you what the procedure is with the army and school certificates, and if you give them yours.
Of course. I know where she's coming from. You see, at the point you joined the army, I joined the army when I was like, was it not 17 now or 18? No, it was 18. I tried to at 17. I was disqualified because I was underage. So I tried at 18 and I got in. Now you will have to actually bring in your school certs, all those things. And for an 18-year-old, I don't think you should have more than school cert by then. So you're going to bring it in. It's going to be scrutinized. Also going to get in touch with WAEC. WAEC will do a confirmation. And then your originals remain with you. Your photocopies will be with the army. Then other than that, you will attend courses while you are in the army, at home and abroad. Okay? When you go abroad and you attend courses, your reports and your grades will be sent to your home country. Okay? If you attend courses like I did here, your certificates will be given to you on graduation. But there is a course report which will be written and sent to the sponsor or the army, as it were. This is how Chamberlain did. This is what he, like that. So basically, of course, my school cert, as she said, photocopy. The original is still with me. It's mine to keep. But the photocopies are with the army, and of course, there cannot be photocopies without an original.
All right, thank you for coming on, retired Captain Ali Yuma, security consultant, talking about security and elections. We will be back in just a moment. We've got more election matters coming up after the break.